Welcome to the 7.2 notes. We are going to learn how to simplify, multiply, and divide rationals. So a rational expression is essentially a fraction made up of two polynomials. So if you look at all of the examples on this page, you will see that there's some variables on top and some variables on bottom. Those are called polynomials. And basically, there's going to be pretty simple steps we're going to do here. Number one is you need to factor. Factor, 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 factor. Two is to simplify. The whole reason we are factoring is so that we can cross out common factors. Here's what that means. I'm going to do this first example to show you what a common factor, the second example to show you what a common factor is. So this top part has a greatest common factor of 6. What that means is I can put a 6 out front and then divide the whole thing by 6. So 6k divided by 6 is just k. Negative 36 divided by 6 is negative 6. On the bottom, it's already fine the way it is. There's nothing I can take out of those two. So see how there's a k minus 6 exactly on the top and the bottom? That is a common factor, and they get to go away. So my final answer would just be 6. That is how you cross out common factors. However, we also need to simplify what are called monomials. A monomial means that it only has one term. These are monomials. Okay, so what that means is we're going to subtract the exponents and divide the coefficients. So I'm going to divide the coefficients first, but 20 divided by 4 is not a very nice number. So what we're going to do instead is divide them both by the biggest number we can, which is 2. That becomes 10 over 7. And then for your exponents, we are going to subtract these exponents. 6 minus 2 is 4. That's it. This one's done. Okay? Do this if there is no addition or subtraction in the problem. This is actually the only one on the front side like that. Now let's get into some ones that actually need to be factored a little bit. Okay? So we've got to factor the top, and then we're going to factor the bottom. So we're just working with one piece at a time. Now, what you should notice about this one is it is difference of squares, meaning this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square. That means that you're going to do the square root of both of them, which gives you p and 7. Those are our square roots. And then you're going to put this in two parentheses, one with a plus and one with a minus. Ta-da! And then on the bottom, it's written in the wrong order. We don't like when the variable goes last. So what we're going to do is rewrite this like this. Notice how I'm keeping the negative with the p because 7 isn't negative. The variable p is. And then we don't like when there's a negative in front of our variable. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our GCF negative 1. So we're going to put a negative 1 out front. That makes this positive p. And then 7 divided by negative 7 is negative 7. So now I can see that these cross out, and I have p plus 7 over negative 1. Always check to see if you can actually divide both of these by this. You can. That's just going to make your answer negative p minus 7. Boom. And that one's a little tricky because you have to switch the order. Make sure your variable goes first. Okay? On this one, we're going to focus just on the top one. What can I divide 12 and 3 by? 3. And then there's an a cubed and an a regular over here. So I can actually take out an a because they both have one. So I put my 3a out front. 12 divided by 3 is 4. A cubed divided by a is a squared. And then negative 3a divided by 3a is just negative 1. And then before I focus on the bottom part, I notice I have two things left and they are both perfect squares. So I'm going to do the same thing I did over here. I'm going to leave the 3a alone for a second. And I'm going to do the square root of 4a squared. That's 2a. And the square root of 1 is 1. One of them gets a plus, one of them gets a minus. Then I'm going to draw my fraction bar. And I'm going to factor this bottom part. I can divide 12 and 6 by 6, so my GCF is 6. And they both have an exponent, so I can actually take away an a squared. So 6a squared is going to go out here. And then 12 divided by 6 is 2. A cubed divided by a squared is a. 6 divided by 6 is 1. And a squared divided by a squared cancel. So that's it. Then I can cross off my common factors. 2a plus 1 is on both of them. And I can do 3 over 6 is the same thing as 1 over 2. 3/6 is 1/2. And a squared divided by a is an a. It's on the bottom because a squared was on the bottom and it's got more a's. And then we leave this 2a minus 1 on the top. So really my answer is 1 times 2a minus 1 over 2a. And your brain is going to want to cancel these two out because it sees that they are the same. But unless I can divide this one too, I can't divide either of them unless I can divide all of them. There are some rules about fractions that might get a little tricky in this section. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on the top part. And I see that I actually have a GCF. It is 2. Sorry about that. So I can divide everything by 2 and leave the 2 out front. Like that. Then I'm going to check and see if I can factor what's left inside the same way that I did this. I can, I just need two numbers that multiply to negative 20 and add to negative 1, which is negative 5 and 4. And that's it for the top part, so I'm going to go ahead and draw my fraction bar. And I'm going to try and take a GCF out of this part. I can divide these both by 8. So I put that 8 out front. 8r divided by 8 is r. 32 divided by 8 is 4. And my r plus 4's are the same. Those are my common factors. And my answer is 2r minus 5 over 8. And no, I do not want you to multiply that together because you want to leave it in factored form whenever possible. One quick thing, if you see it, you can do it. You can actually divide 2 and 8 to make a fourth. So that goes away and this becomes 4. That is another version of the same answer. All right, one more on this side. 45 minus 5w. It's written in the wrong order, so I've got to fix it. So negative 5w plus 45. And then I need to take out a GCF. I can divide those both by 5, but since the w is negative, I want to divide them both by negative 5. So negative 5w divided by negative 5 is just w. 45 divided by negative 5 is negative 9. And then on the bottom, this is where I get a little bit tricky because I can't divide 28 by 3. So since there's a number in front, I have to multiply 3 and 9. So I'm looking for something that multiplies to 27 that adds to negative 28, which is 1 and 27. They both need to be negative to add to negative 28. And this is where you're just going to split it up in the middle. Keep the 3w squared and the 9. But instead of negative 28 in the middle, you're going to make it negative 1w and negative 27w. So whenever you have a number in front that you can't divide by, you split up the middle. And then you look at these two, and you say, hey, I have a GCF of w there. And that leaves me with 3w minus 1. And then I look over at the other side, and I say, what can I divide these two by? 9. And since this first one is negative, you want that to be negative 9. The same way I took out a negative up here. You don't want the variable to be negative to start with. Negative 27 divided by negative 9 is 3w. 9 divided by negative 9 is negative 1. And what should happen is you should have the same parentheses here and here. That's your first factor. Your other factor is whatever is on the outsides. W minus 9. And now I can cross out my common factor, w minus 9 on the top and the bottom. Ta-da! And I'm going to go ahead and pause here for this video and go ahead and say that this is going to match up with numbers 1 through 6 on the 7.2 assignment.